Huge bonuses for civil servants. Let's have a look. Good evening, everyone. I'm Florian Heise, and welcome to another episode of Heise Says. I've got my first stein of coffee for a few days. We've been out west at Bunduma Dam with the family, and I will talk more about that and share some photos of some more exciting parts of the dam and the water levels in the next couple of days. But I thought driving back, we did the customary stop and get Maccas with the kids after 4 hours of driving. And part of the deal was if they behaved, they got a burger and got to play in the playground. And I decided to read through the paper there. So hence why I'm showing you this photograph. It's the approach we're taking today. But this is an interesting article about a statutory body in Queensland and the ludicrous bonuses these people were getting paid. Now, there's a few things to this. It's one, what the statutory body actually does, why it exists, the bonuses that they're getting, and then, before we talk to that, I'd like to draw attention to two other videos. One, which was, public service bonus will do nothing for Queensland. So this was, economists are really critical of Queensland, our state government's version of the helicopter money. Everyone's getting a bonus for doing nothing. For doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, that's just after our garbage collection, waste disposal fees went up, registration went up, all these other things. And then they find money to just throw at people. So there you go. That's one I'll encourage you to look at. And the other one is, government spending to the rescue. The constant push for government spending. But if it's just, tokenistic waste, you get the broken window fallacy. Spending for the sake of spending. Remember, all government money is taxed. It's taken off people. So they're not the smartest people to use it all the time. Sometimes it's better to keep it out there amongst the populace. Maybe let people keep their own hard-earned money. So, guys, please, if you think these are interesting topics that you're interested in and your friends and family will please share the channel and get the word out there so more people can discuss and be a bit critical about all these, super good things like free money or these government organizations that are doing good, when we need to really pull it apart and discuss it, because it always sounds a lot better than it is. So I'll just zoom in here and we will have a read through this. And before I do that, I'm just going to have a shot of coffee and jump to an ad. So I'm going to write that time down there, 2:51. Put it in. So here we go. Bosses of a statutory body tasked with keeping fruit and vegetables affordable. This sounds familiar, doesn't it? In some of the country's most disadvantaged indigenous communities have relished in hefty bonuses. This is the thing. Here in Queensland, we have, here in Australia, we have an initiative called Bridging the Gap, where they are trying to address a lot of the social disparity between Aboriginal communities living in remote parts of Australia and the rest of our communities living on, eastern coast or western coast or more advanced civilizations, to be quite frank, more advanced cities, better access to services. And a lot of money is getting thrown at that. And we've worked on architectural projects looking at trying to address that. And it's not making any difference. The stats aren't bearing out much change. So this is the thing, why? Why do you need a statutory body to intervene in the market in these remote communities? The Courier Mail can reveal 6 executive members of the Community Enterprise Queensland, CEQ, took home $130,000 worth of performance bonuses last financial year. $135,000 bonuses. Why are people in a statutory body getting those bonuses? I mean, there's job security. Shouldn't that be enough of a bonus? Including Chief Executive Officer Ian Copeland, who pocketed 60 grand. The whopping sum has shocked community leaders, including Northern Peninsula Area Regional Council Mayor Edward Newman, who said people won't be happy. Yeah, no, the locals would not be happy. They would not. I'm not happy. The cost of living, and especially the low economic communities, especially Indigenous communities, hard to get jobs, hard to find good jobs anyway. then costing of veggies and groceries from the local supermarket, and the CEO gets a bonus. It doesn't help at all. I mean, so he's addressing a lot of the issues in these remote communities. Now, here's a question I put to you, and I'd like your feedback in the comments. Why are we propping up these remote communities? So, Mr. Newman said that people in those communities were paying far more for groceries than those in areas such as Cairns, and they wouldn't be happy to hear about the bonuses. Well, yeah, this statutory body is meant to keep it cheaper. But I mean, okay, we drove, what do we spend? $200 on petrol just going out for a fishing competition in the car with the kids and all the stuff loaded. You've got to understand fuel costs, transporting these goods around, fruit and vegetables in remote areas. You need to refrigerate it. It's ironic where it's probably grown, brought into the city, packaged, and sent back out, or even frozen out. And we noticed a lot of the older guys out in the country, you know, they were packing on the kilos, even though they're working on the farms. So this is the thing, even with the remote indigenous communities, they have a lot of health issues, and a lot of that is to do with adopting, let's just say, the standard Australian diet. CEQ operates 26 stores across the state, including in Bamaga, Dumaji, and Thursday Island. Whoa. The general manager of finance, Anthony Bird, received a $17,000 bonus, while Jennifer Bartlett, the general manager of human resources, pocketed $16,000. And I'll just enter down here, guys, so you can see that. $16,000. I mean, why? Why are they getting $17,000, $16,000? Those are huge bonuses for a bureaucratic job. Why? I mean, it's human resources. That will be a dime a dozen to replace people like that. That is not a skill in short supply. This is not a prestigious organization. Maybe that's why they need to keep them. Including his bonus, Mr. Copeland took home $424,000 in 2018-2019. So this is the same rent-seeking as the potato board in Western Australia. But now they're on the backs of remote indigenous communities. Okay, and I know why. Well, Thursday Island. See, this is the thing. Thursday Island, you had a whole bunch of different tribes mushed together on this island by the missionaries, I understand. And now there's still social issues there. I would love to see a way to get the actual, people on the island, give them ownership, individual ownership of their land, individual empowerment, free them from the burden of the state, from needing to have things like this, because it's a beautiful area there. Beautiful part of the country. The body, which recorded a 98.1 million turnover last financial year, also gave $95,000 to communities for local events. Okay, cool, wow. I mean, they probably have the stranglehold in these areas. Do they allow other competitors to open up? That's the question. Could you go in there? Could you go to anyone here? Could you go to Thursday Island and start up a shop? If you wanted to, start up a shop there in Thursday Island. Bring stuff in cheaper. Isn't Aldi there? I bet you that they would make it a nightmare. They would make, no, it's our job. We need to take care of them. That's the mentality of these people. These are rent seekers. So CEQ's Chair of Finance and Audit, Risk and Governance Committee, Eleanor Scott, said the bonuses were paid when both organizational and individual performance measures were exceeded. In response to concerns about grocery prices, Ms. Scott said CEQ undertook market reviews of pricing and used the most effective and efficient transport available. Well, why aren't they farming out there? I guess they can't. The public welcomes weekly deliveries of fresh meat, fruit and vegetables, which were not available in stores to these remote communities before, she said. The stores in the Aboriginal communities now have 50% more line items than were in the stores under the previous administration, and the price of goods in these stores has either not increased at all since 2017 or have had marginal increases of up to 2%. I mean, that's the thing. It's going to cost a fortune in these communities. Ms. Scott said bonus payments help to ensure CEQ maintain its high standard of delivery. So I'll zoom back in here. Because staff were focused on the customer and it aided in attracting and retaining staff, which was difficult in the rural and remote retail sector. Well, maybe you could train up locals to work in these sectors, in these jobs. So, Traeger MP Robbie Katter, whose electorate includes Dumadiji, told the Courier Mail he was seething with anger. I've been frustrated for many years hearing from the communities how the high grocery prices and the lack of access to traditional hunting food sources has meant poorer outcomes for their families, he said. Unless the government saw key outcomes like more affordable grocery prices and better products going to the communities, there shouldn't be any bonuses going in there. That's an interesting point. The traditional indigenous diet, I watched a documentary to do with heart disease, and they took elders, like frankly older people from the tribe, a lot of men and women. They took them for a 2-week retreat where they ate the traditional food. And some of them didn't need to go on their insulin anymore, or their requirements decreased. They were eating witchetty grubs, all this higher fat, better food. In many ways similar to a keto diet, a more traditional diet. So this is the thing, do you want to ensure that the people living in these areas are allowed to hunt, are allowed to have access to it? But, what would the Greenies say? Acting Minister for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Partnership, Stephen Miles, said CEQ was not funded by the state government and all remunerations for executives was approved by the independent CEQ board. When community members have raised concerns about pricing or quality, the Queensland government has worked with CEQ to investigate and address these challenges, he said. Well, I've worked with one of these statutory bodies before. That means they have the market so tied up. They have it tied up. That's the problem. You know what they should do? You know what they should do? They should try and get an Aldi out in Thursday Island. They should try and get an Aldi out there. I reckon that'd be cheaper than getting the government doing this stuff. But the problem is these communities cost so much to get anything out there, and it always is. It's just the transportation, the logistics. I don't know, guys. What do you think the solution is? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think these people are just rent seekers? Or do they deserve these bonuses for getting more groceries on the shelves in these remote areas? Isn't it just a logistical issue? Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to help me produce more of these videos, I have a Patreon and Subscribe Star. Thank you for all your support, and I will see you next time. Take care.